Real FM.
From many distant lands, our forefathers came, some seeking adventure, some bound in chains. Through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before.
Welcome, brothers, welcome, sisters, welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up the telephone and call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socio-economic issues, any trending or topical issue. But most important, you can introduce whatever topic you want. We fear no subject matter. The democratic process in Grenada is alive and well. At this point in time, perhaps it is the best turning point in our history. We recently had an election where the side that won 9 seats. The side that lost won 6 seats. The last time that happened in Grenada was in 1976 when we had the alliance. There's a lot of unique opportunities we have now. The side that win election, they have 9 brand new people in parliament. And the side that lose, they have 6 very experienced people in the opposition. In fact, it is the first time that happened in Grenada history. And I wouldn't surprise if it is in the Caribbean. And it is so important for us at this turning point. I think the biggest victory in Grenada was the electoral system. Because the losing side, the NNP, believed that the election was free and fair. And the NDC did not complain about irregularities this time. Over the last 2 defeats they had, they was jumping up and shouting about irregularities, Obia, Haiti, all such an issue. But this time they convinced that the electoral process was free and fair. So that is one issue we deal with it in Grenada. And people could feel comfortable that when we have election in Grenada is free and fair, and we must respect the wishes of the majority. Now we have something called rank and file workers. And I do not believe ordinary workers should be interfered with, irrespective who win election. These people are not people, most of them are not managers. They are not the one making decisions. So you expect a new government come in, it's like a referee in a football team. If you put the ball here, he's making sure and touch the ball and put it back in the same place. He wants to show his authority. So you expect some moving around of permanent secretaries and departmental heads. In addition to that, the government have a ton load of people in the foreign missions to deal with. We have a number of boards to deal with. So there is no need, no justification for government of the day to be searching around and trying to victimize ordinary workers. They don't have master's degree. They don't have bachelor's degree. It's just ordinary people trying to eke out a life. Maybe the job they had, the politician assist them to get it. That is the role of the politician. But these people fighting, some of them didn't even vote for the politician. And no attempt is made to get these people out of a job. When you're in Carriacou is a small place. So you must expect the possibility of people getting jobs in Carriacou is a little bit more difficult than in Grenada. Leave the people alone. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr.
Yes,
Pierre.
my brother, welcome.
Yes, I have a concern.
Go right ahead.
My family come from England, right? Since in January they came here. And one of them they love athletics and they love Kirani James. And he wanted a Kirani vest to buy. We went in the Olympics committee. We went all over Grenada. We can't get nothing in Grenada, like a t-shirt or a vest or a jersey with Kirani James. So I want to know, I don't know who's responsible, but I want to know what is the reason for that and why it's not available. I know you have copyrights and everything, so you can't just take the picture, but the people who manage this Kirani and Grenada and who, the foreigners, they love Kirani James, they love Grenada, they love Atlas, they want something to represent. So I want to know why. I don't know if you could help me to find a way, you could direct me, if people who are listening could call the radio and say, okay, go this place or go that place to get a little vest top with Kirani name and his face on it, a jersey or something. Right?
Yes,
that
scholar.
is my concern today.
Yes, scholar. Thank you very much. Yeah. And I do hope that somebody listening, either through Facebook or on the radio, would give us a call. I may express my opinion on that a little later on, but I do hope somebody would give you a call. Yes, I'm saying politicians have to learn to behave themselves. Don't interfere with rank and file workers. It's going to come back to haunt you. We have a situation developing, particularly in Carriacou. Because in Grenada, because some people may be able to easier get a job. These people are not heads of department. These are ordinary people. These people do not have master's degree. And there's not sympathy for people with masters. They say, go and get a next job. You're bright enough to make a job. But when you show these people out of their work, for no reason, except that you believe they're carrying green blood, Jumbi go take. I see that happening in Grenada already, you know. During the revolution, we jailed 3,000 people. My partner doesn't like me to say that. Over 3,000 Grenadians went to prison because they opened their mouth. They were Gary Rights. They were GNP. They were counter-revolutionaries. They went to prison, and a similar number, maybe 3,000-4,000, make for Trinidad, Canada, America, England. The wounds and pain still remain in Grenada. If a new government come in, the NDC come in with 9 new people, no worker have done you wrong in Grenada. No workers have done you wrong. Give the workers a chance. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Don't go searching after rank and file workers. You have enough people to, the Prime Minister said over 1,500 people volunteered to assist in the diplomatic level and on boards and etc. These ordinary people would not get work on board. Is ordinary people are doing a work, maybe paying $2,000 a month. Leave them alone. Don't go after them. It is unnecessary. They don't have no lawyers to fight for them. No union wouldn't bother with them. But the tears of these people going to burn you. So I am appealing to the new government. Stop searching for green blood among rank and file workers. I take the strongest objection to that. I remember the days when they retrenched workers in Grenada under the NDC. At that time, George Rizan was the leader. He was the Minister of Finance. They retrenched workers, but they did not retrench the public officers in the established category. They got rid of the workers in Cocoa Board and Boulogne and Maribo and government estate. At that time, The Gary Union was so weak that they could not even pay to attend TUC meeting. And when people lend them money and they pay, TUC say they pay too late, so they can't attend the convention. Some unions beg. They beg too. Uncle Gary begged, so they give him observer status, but he was not able to vote in TUC meeting. We have a history there, you know. The National Democratic Congress won 11 seats. And everybody thought, not everybody, some of the members said that is the end of Kit. But they went there looking for Kit blood. And some of the more rational and fair-minded members advised them not to do that, so they end up in conflict. You're doing the same thing again. Don't do these things. It's going to backfire on you. And I'm always concerned, and I've been pointing out that over the last couple of years that I have the opportunity to be on radio. If you have a group, you have an organization, you have a political party, and you let bitterness, hate pulverize the nucleus of that party, it is very difficult to change when you win. The NDC must recognize that they are in control. They are in the government. There is no need for you to continue your bitterness. Yes, you have some militant members on social media who have axe to grind with Kit. Let them take it out on Kit, not on ordinary rank and file workers. You have to understand that Dr. Kit Mitchell is the one who liberalized the telecommunication network in Grenada. That we have so much a radio station and media personalities. We have so much a media personalities that professional journalists the significance is diluted. And Dr. Kit Mitchell, perhaps, is the most criticized politician in the Caribbean. Yet, he remained extremely humble. We have a politician in the Caribbean, they used to call him Brian Nancy. Every time he passed, the guy sit down on a wall. The wall was over 100 years old, and they teasing him, Brian Nancy. He sent a tractor and mashed up the wall. He bulldozed the wall down, so there was no wall for him to sit down, for them to sit down and provoke him again. Dr. Kit Mitchell have set a high standard and template for political leaders to able to absorb criticism. The level of criticism meted out to him in Grenada is a high standard that political leaders and prime ministers would have to bear. Because you see, he don't complain about it much. When he's ready to take them on, he tell them, don't go there. But he's like a combatant. Remember what the Calypsonian wizards say. Claudius, the Roman governor, Dr. Stone, Jonah, yet he's able to move around this country and communicate with the ordinary man in the most pleasant of spirit. Politicians have to learn from one another. The National Democratic Congress, I appeal to you, control your social, your political warriors, and you have to stop going after ordinary workers. One of the ordinary workers in Grenada, it is easier for them to get a job. But in Carriacou, it is even more difficult. Stop go after them. I appeal to you. If you continue, remember we have a free media, we're going to call you out. And I think it's so important to mention these things from day one. Because in the Prime Minister's opening salvo, he says information will be on a need-to-know basis. And since he has no intention of interacting on a regular basis with the media, then obviously we'll have to point out that to him and advise him to pull back his militant warriors. Now that you win election, you have to let the prince of hate go in hibernation. They would only, we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good day, sir.
Yes, caller, welcome.
I think you remember in 1976, the Grenada United Labour Party won 9 seats, the Alliance won 6 seats, and you know what Sarek did? He opened up what you was calling the olive branch, and he was able to get Wellington Friday to come with him, and he make him the Minister of Education. So you see, anytime you see Brini, he don't have no hate. He asking for one love, and he mean one love. I don't know if you remember those days. He called a meeting with them, and he said, let us have, we call it a name, project. He had a name, he called it. So, he shouldn't have no hate, no one love. You in the driver's seat.
Wasn't it national bootstring?
Oh, yes.
Bootstring.
Yes,
The
yes.
national bootstring.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Friday become the Minister of Education, although Senator and the Minister of Education.
Yeah, I think.
That's the way he was operating.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, caller. I think some of our young politicians must know our history. And they must understand when you're politicking, it's not about hate and it's not about bitterness. You know? But if you let the nuclei of your organization be pulverized by hate, then it's going to be very difficult for you to send out the olive branch. And I always remind people, the two most successful politicians in Grenada are the two politicians that reach out the most. And that is Eric Gary and Kit Mitchell. Whether you like them or not is not the issue. The truth about these two men that they understand, let us deal with the issue and don't get mad with me because of my style and personality. You know? And I always believe that we must have some voices in this country seeking the interests of the downtrodden, the ordinary man. And this is one of the reasons I'm screaming out now for the workers in Taraku. Now, I don't expect the law that like weed to bother with them. No. From the time government introduced in Parliament a bill to help to liberalize or decriminalize weed, I hear nothing about it. He was advocating to partition one of the parish. And what hurts me most, he said he don't care if they align with New Zealand and Australia. Once is not Grenada. And I'm asking, what could Grenada have done this fair gentleman? And the other members, they're happy. They seem to give him the blessings. So they wouldn't speak about these people who are being unnecessarily and unjustifiably attacked or losing their jobs. If you are unemployed for a long time, sometimes you get used to it. But it brings serious trauma to somebody who was working and they lose their job only because you don't like how they voted. They have done no wrong. If a man do something wrong, he believe, well, yes, I contribute towards it. These people might have been performing at the best, and you did not give them a chance. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. Okay, we lost that caller.
Hello?
Yes, caller, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierce.
Yeah, you got to speak a little louder.
Yes, Mr. Pierce.
Yeah, go right
Good
ahead.
afternoon. I think I concur with every word that you have said from the time you have started this morning, today. Everyone, I will go with it. Let me tell you an experience that I had. There was a gentleman, myself, and him used to drink together. We were very good friends. And one day I met him. He's an NDC supporter. I am an NMP supporter. And we met, and I tried to make a joke with him. And the gentleman, when he was to fight with me, I wonder why. I said, what happened? And the only thing I heard him say, every day you're on the radio, run your motor about NDC. And from that day to now, that gentleman kept me in. I could tell you, Mr. Pierre, I have lots of friends that are in NDC, and we get along very, very well. Last election had just gone. A gentleman who is an NDC bet with two of my friends who is NMP. I was supposed to take part in the bet, but I was not betting. And it happened that he, the NDC, won the bet. The bet for 2 cases of carib. Do you know they called me at my home to come and help drink the carib? And they cooked some food. So the NMP, the NDC, after the election, joined together, cook and eat. And to date, we does that still, Mr. Pierre, up to as late as yesterday. We were together, the same clique, NMP, NDC. We are. I do not know why after election people have to have this confrontation.
It will happen if you see the NDC have been in opposition for a very long time. And as a result of that, there is a reason and justification for little bitterness and anger. But over the last 7-8 years, I've listened to radio personalities do what I believe preach hate. And they have helped to pulverize the very DNA of the NDC. And the NDC have to send these people in hibernation. Otherwise, they're going to help them cannibalize the political party.
And you are sure right, Mr. Pierre. Because there is no need for firing a man because he was an NMP. He was an NMP in a position and know that you're in power. And there's no need for NMP to do it at no time. If I could remember at NMP do it, I will be having the same feelings about it. No NMP, no NDC should criticize a man or block a man's job because you don't support your party.
You see, if the person is a permanent secretary, a head of a department, there are provision made in the Constitution to transfer these people.
Yeah, well,
but when you go to ordinary workers,
I don't have a problem with
yeah,
with that.
you can
because if I am the minister, I may not feel comfortable working with you, Mr. Pierre, as the permanent secretary. So I don't have a problem with that. But you have no right to throw me out of the service. It did happen under the NMP at time, where people were transferred and whatnot. And so it's nothing new. It happened in all time that you have people transfer. And I see nothing wrong in that. I would expect the person that was driving Dr. Michel to want to drive for Mr. Deacon to want him to drive him. I do expect that. So we expect to see those kind of changes, but not the way. And there are some things that Mr. Deacon said, which I'm totally not in favor of. For instance, this thing with the media, where he's going to only report to the media when it is possible.
Well, I need to know basis.
When he need, yeah.
So who determine what you should know?
Exactly. I think that I don't in favor of that statement coming from him at all.
Well, that favor is totally unacceptable.
Yeah. I don't support that. The media, he said that anything you want to find out call and ask. I don't think that's the best way forward.
Well, who want information from second-hand people?
So I totally against that.
Yeah.
But I think we do have to expect to see some changes, and that is so. And in NMP time, they did have changes too. We do expect some changes, but this radical changing, I'm not in favor of it.
Yes, thank you, Colin.
Good.
Yes, I think it is important, and it's important for now that the NDC start the game, the opening salvo. It's important to point out that to them. And I'll tell you why. Over the last 10 years, I've heard some serious criticism and tearing down of issues. One of the things I heard tear down in Grenada is the Imani program. I've always advocated that this program, I believe, is the best program that have been instituted in Grenada in the last 100 years to help children, to help people or students that is not very competitive to prepare them from the job market. Because if you leave school and you do not have a basic education, it's very difficult for you to be competitive on the job market. So you have a program where you train children, basic life skills, basic discipline. You encourage them to further their studies, whether it is a national college, SGU. Some of them went to China. Some go to the University of the West Indies to get job experience. And most of all, they get money, because that is the most important thing. And this program has been criticized by the trade union. And I was so disappointed because I believe the union, although these people not paying them dues, but they practically should have an eye out. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Yeah. Because this present administration right now, they say the main priority will be agriculture. They just criticizing tourism. You can't eat tourists every time. Tourism. And what I find strange, they say they decide to end the life of Maclean Board. And Maclean Board is the agriculture sector. And they decide to subsidize LIAT to bring in tourists. So this is contradicting, because you say agriculture is make priority. Subsidize the agriculture instead, because local farmers are selling here. But you decide to go and subsidize and say why the pile government didn't do it. So that is double standard, because agriculture is main priority coming to office. You come, you plant more spices, you do more things. No, you have a Maclean Board running. You subsidizing Maclean Board. The government subsidizing Maclean Board. You complaining that everyone have to give them money. But the local people have a benefit from that. The local farmers benefit. But if you decide to put money into LIAT, subsidize LIAT to bring in tourists. When you say agriculture is the key. So that don't make up my mind what they really do. I feel they in the wiki, they just making large whoop. If you get you, you get you. You don't want to, because you tell people that. So I mean, India man are any farming industry too. So you subsidizing LIAT to bring in tourists, because you have a problem. So do that for agriculture instead. To keep the agriculture going, keep Maclean Board going, and subsidize Maclean Board instead. For about LIAT. So I find that contradictory. So take him up here. Have a good day.
Yes, you see, sometimes when you're in opposition, you could run your mouth. You could say a thing. And there are a number of people in the country that is not taking them to task. That's why I believe people like Portia Simpson in Jamaica, Tillman Thomas in Grenada, Bosun, who have left the party politics per se, should stay in Grenada and look at issues, should stay in the Caribbean and look at issues that transcend party politics. So when we had the issue of politician pay, and the opposition leader then, before he was opposition leader, Tobias, made this foolish statement and said that he wouldn't work for that Besaban. Man, the NNP had to do massive damage control for him to win his seat. Because he claimed the kind of money Tobias was working in St. George's University for. I wouldn't surprise that his salary was between $10,000 to $20,000 a month. I hope these individuals have the guts, the balls, and the fortitude to tell Grenadians what money they're making in SGU. So when he say he didn't work in for that, the Prime Minister don't want to employ him. He wants him stay in SGU. Do his work there, but continue contributing to his constituency. And that is good politics. It is also good politics for Deacon to leave Tessa in SGU. Because Tessa making more money than the Prime Minister. And I hope she too have the fortitude to tell the Grenadian public how much money she making in SGU. Otherwise, I'll tell the public for them. Because the salary she working for in SGU, no minister of government, including the Prime Minister, could work for it. But every time you talk about politician salary, the NDC members, the trade unions, and a number of people in the private sector, they attack the idea. They say they're getting money for gas. They say they're getting pox. They say them people rich. They bread well butter. They're living in Happy Hill and everybody else living in Hope. So they pound that in the public head. And the NNP say, leave this thing alone. After Tobias raised it, Oliver Joseph mentioned the kind of money he was working for when he in CARICOM. Maybe that is why St. Vincent people, St. David's people don't vote for Oliver. They say Oliver want money. Now, after you tear down these people, the NDC then should get up and say, let us examine it and look at clarity and etc. They never did. They gave the impression that NNP was greedy, that the NNP ministers was corrupt. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yes, my brother, punch.
Good afternoon to your viewing audience and listeners. Mr. Pierre.
Speak a little louder for us.
Yeah, you mentioned two names a while ago, eh?
Go right ahead.
Two of the people that are working at SGU, eh? But Mr. Pierre, if you're working at SGU and getting all this money, why would you come into politics? Why would you come in? You should give somebody else a chance.
No, caller, you could come into politics, but not necessarily accept a post as a minister. Now, it's very important for us to have a wide cross-section of people in politics. So even if somebody's in SGU, they could come in politics and run for election, represent the constituency.
But that don't make sense.
It makes a lot of sense, caller.
What sense it making? What sense?
When you have a political party, you want a cross-section of people. Okay. So if you have a political party, you want businessmen in it. You want old people in it. You want young people in it. You want people from different sectors. So having somebody from an entity that contribute more than 20% of the GDP in Grenada is very important.
Right. So these people get almost 10,000 US down there a month.
I said $10,000. I didn't say US.
No, I think it's US.
Well, I prefer to say $10,000. Since you're not certain, say between 10 and 20.
Right. So why would you leave that and come into politics? I can't understand.
Look at me here. I am in politics. This is a politician, you know.
I know.
I don't openly flaunt political party. Yeah. But from the time you don't know me. From day one, I'm a politician. I like Caribbean politics, CARICOM and Africa.
I know.
So you could say, why you don't go in your land rather than come and radio and speak?
So why they didn't give Leo Keto the chance to run?
Well, I don't know about them. That's the internal wrangling.
So this is the thing
you're surprised to know Leo Keto was making more money where he was working than if he come in politics.
Yeah.
Politicians don't working for much money.
So why they want to get in there?
Well, you have to ask them that question.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Yeah. You see, we have to be consistent. We can't be speaking with forked tongues. And I'm going back to the Imani program. And I always challenge individuals when I speak to them, tell me which is the best program that have been instituted in Grenada in the last 100 years for young people to meet the challenges of the job market. And it doesn't matter who they are, they turn dumb. because this is the best program. But they have criticized the program so much that even members of the Imani themselves, they only did the program for the money. Because they said this program not good. They want to keep us in Imani all we life. So they criticize the program. Now they promise to appoint all the Imani and make them permanent. Well, if you appoint all the Imani and you make them permanent, and I believe they're going to do that, because they promise that loud, bold, they can't back down from that. That means you're done with Imani. No more Imani again, but all those that are there, you make them permanent. Now the job market is difficult in the Caribbean. We have a war going on in Ukraine. China and America are making one among the nice. They want to fight. We in the Caribbean, we import everything. Not everything, but macaroni, and we like macaroni. We like Irish potato, garlic and onion, milk and canned beef, and if Grenadian don't get it, they balling. You don't see Grenadian size. They don't eat in all this fig and blogger. When you go in a restaurant and they give you piece of tomatoes, they cut it with a razor blade. Carrot, they cut it with a piece of razor blade. Cucumbers, they cut it with a razor blade. And one among the rice and macaroni pie. Even the farmers in Grenada, they want piece of pie. They don't want yam pie, They want macaroni pie. Don't believe me. Anytime you go in a restaurant, watch from the corner of your eyes. Don't make them see you watching them. See what they in the farmer's plate. The same farmers are cussing marketing board. The same farmers are saying they can't get the crop sell. When they go in a restaurant, they want one piece of pie. They want a piece of pie. They want macaroni pie. They don't want yam pie, And the opposition, when you're in opposition, you support all that. Now you want to use the easy way out and end the life of marketing board while you evoke Maurice Bishop's spirit. This is a paradox. It is the worst paradox I've heard for a long time. Because two of the most important fundamentals are pillars, are things that could be associated with Maurice Bishop in a positive way. Two of the most tangible is the International Airport and MNIB Marketing Board. Maurice Bishop was an orator. He had charisma. When he speak, you listen. He was a handsome man. Women like him. But the most important tangibles are the International Airport and MNIB. So you can't sell MNIB. You have to fix MNIB. And MNIB, Marketing and National Importing Board, it do hard to fix. They have two problems there. Low productivity and bad management. Low productivity and bad management. That is the same problem we have in education. Low productivity. We have some people in education, and it's not easy people, That is the brightest people in Grenada. Teachers and educators are the brightest people in Grenada. And they believe they're in a social class because they're bright. So they ain't taking criticism from nobody. As soon as you criticize them, they get vexed. But 70% of the children that leave school cannot meet the minimum requirement. Go and ask Kenny Lalsin if he operates in at 30%. Any businessman in this country that functioning under about 30% productivity, they have to be in drugs to survive. Otherwise, they will not be able to meet the overhead, and they will not be able to pay government tax and duties. But because we have an attitude saying government can't boss, these people comfortable. The most unproductive people in the Caribbean are our educators. And I always say to them, we could change this thing overnight. And when I say overnight, I'm talking about 5 to 10 years. Again, you have to learn the time of politics, because change is not a fast thing. So when I talk about change in education, and I say overnight, I'm talking about 5 to 10 years. When I talking about no, if I say Deacon have to do it no, it means in the next 4 years. Because Deacon only have 4 years to convince people that he on the right path. Otherwise they go change it. 4 years he had. So when you say no, it means 4 years. If Deacon say a specific time, I'm going to do it in 2 years, then you hold him to 2.5, 3. But if he say no, no means 4 years. Because that is the time the democratic system gives you to make sense. We have to understand that, and we have to do better. And I see my brother Hudson George and King Favor posting, and I want to read out a few posts. And I'm starting with King. These people only trying to measure up with people they perceive to be NNP. These King Favor, again, if they're so bright, they should touch them Imani workers. They will be sending home. They will be sending home. They'll be sending home anyway. They will be sent home anyway, because some will not meet the criteria or merit. And Hudson George grew up hearing the elders saying, you cannot kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Persons who are working at SGU and want to serve in parliament are trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So this is another perspective. But I always advocate that an individual could work with SGU, win election, but he have to prepare not to take the post. Because these individuals are poor people. You see, in yesteryear in politics, ministers was well off. There was big businessmen. There was older in age. But in Grenada now, we don't want old people in politics. We cursing old people. We stoning old people in the land. We had a home in St. Patrick's. About 15 to 16 of them dead. One old man leave the home. They said the man could hardly walk. Up to now, I don't think they get him yet. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Mr. P.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Mr. P, I want to say something. I do believe we have to be, as politicians, a government has to be very careful how you treat people. Because you know something, like in a home, like you have your husband and wife in a home. Your wife is an NDC. The husband is an NMP. But in the end result, you have to love your wife. Not everybody will go make the same decision. And I do believe, yes, you might not like the decision that someone made, but then you have to respect. You have to respect people's decision. Because in opposition, before election, a lot of criticism, a lot of hate was said about the NMP party at the time.
About the NDC too, both of them.
What NDC, a lot of hate was made about and the NMP government before the election. Right? Yes, people have to go by the opinion, they go say certain things. But see, something I have to say to be careful to people. Yes, if you always go to look at the message. If the message is important, right? Take heed of the message. And if you know what the message person gives is something that will help develop you, don't look at the messenger and criticize the messenger because you don't like a message. You don't like a messenger. But the message, the person that you hate, is a message that will help develop you, develop your family, and bring development to the people who can compete in Martinique. I want to say again, Mr. Pierre, because see, in the home again, like there's children support the NC, the parents support NMP, and the father and the mother they work in, and the things that you might do to them and send them home, it could hinder the whole household, where the child, the parents that have to find that money to give their children to go to school, they out of a job. And what happened there? The children will turn tail, vote for you, will turn against you. And say, if I vote for you, I will treat my father and my mother that way, I cannot support you. So I think you have to look on both sides of the coin, right? Both sides of the coin. And they said that they would not send home anybody. They're going to make everybody permanent. And I do believe if you say something, You have to keep to your words. You have to keep to your words. Make people, because I always say, Mr. Payne, in no contract that go for everybody. Everybody permit. Some people be on contract, and the people, I don't think people mind if be on contract. Otherwise, they're concerned about Mr. Payne. When the month reach or the fortnight reach, they get a salary. A salary really could end up going to buy food for them and the family.
Yes.
So Mr. Payne have a blessing.
Thank you, caller. Yes, some things we say we can't keep it. Particularly women. Sometimes we run with mouth, we make promise. We can't keep that. And sometimes you have people in home. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. We lost that caller? All right, we lost the caller. Try again. We want you to get you. You see, I think it's important that some people discuss this issue and speak about it. We don't need to get angry. And there are some points that the government must take now, because the government brand new. And the government have a transition team. All through history, you have governments with advisors. But this government have transmission team. So we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, so you have a problem with your phone because I think I'm hearing you there. I'm hearing you, but you're not hearing us. So you might have to cut off and call again. Because we want you on the program. So cut off and call again. So they knew they're going to make some blunders. Nothing is wrong with that. Caller, welcome. You're there, you got to cut off and then call again. Right? They knew, so they're going to make some blunders. It's not to say within them they have the experience to nudge one another on the shoulder. They can nudge one another, all of them green. But one of the fundamentals, all you have to do is remember what you say on the campaign. And you say you will not victimize people. And there is no justification. Because none of the workers that you're trying to go off in Carriacou or Grenada, they never do you no wrong. So if you're doing it for the purpose of efficiency in your ministries, then people would agree. But if these people are not managers, they don't make decisions, then it's not because of efficiency. You have to have your middle managers to be more efficient. And this is important. We in Grenada have to change our attitude. We can't be speaking with forked tongues all the time. We just cannot do that. When a government in power, the opposition criticizes everything. There are some things you can't criticize. The opposition members, particularly some of the older members like Mr. Thomas and them, should have pointed out whether or not they believe politicians need more pay. But in your opening game, you don't talk about, you start to talk about pay. He pays the first paycheck, shock the members of the National Democratic Congress. You see, you believe the Prince of Hate. When they was speaking about the NNP government and say how much money they're making, you believe that. So you went there with the belief that the income these people was making, direct and indirect, was making them rich. And they're getting free gas. And your first paycheck give you political shock. So now you must get up and speak and tell people about the justification. I wouldn't help you in that. You have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr.
Yes,
P.
my brother, welcome.
Well, Mr. P, you're some student who are in China. And I don't know how much of them would come, but I have one grandson. He's back here since Friday. He's 85 years in China. And he graduated, he come down with his certificates and so on. And I know the ministry don't know nothing about that.
When he come back on Friday,
Last Friday.
give him a chance to take a rest for the carnival, man. After he come from China, he need to take a rest from the carnival. And after that, go and report to government that he come back. Government don't know if he come back. You see, sometimes when we send people away, Some of them wretched, they doesn't come back. And government know when they send some people out, he doesn't come back. So now government forget him too. So he has an obligation, he have a duty, he have a responsibility to go and report to the government and say, I'm back from China, this is my certificate, this is my qualification.
You have 5 years this time, eh?
And one government put him on a bond for 20 years. Anytime he have to go away to work in another country, government must give him permission to. Because you see, if the people we invest money on, the people we educate, this man must cost about $200,000 to keep him in China for 5 years. You know? Obviously, the government didn't spend all that money directly. But because of their bilateral relationship with China, and because they agreed to support China in the international community, this is why China is offering us all this assistance. China built 2,000 houses in Grenada. You remember the NDC give back 1,000 houses. The NNP go back, they say they want it back again. So now this gentleman come for the holiday, leave him. Tell him enjoy himself for the carnival. When carnival done, go and report to the ministry that he is back.
Well, it's 5 years, you go for and you make it 5 years?
Yes, so that is very good. And you have a grandson now that is educated. So he have a bachelor's degree because he had to spend a year to learn Chinese. So he qualified to speak Mandarin. And I also believe you should encourage him to start a little Mandarin class in the community. Because some of our educated people, they abscond the community. They leave the community and go. They're not helping us change the dynamics on the block. I have a dentist in Tikolo, killer, she not going back and help nobody. And they send her on train, you know. The woman trained, after she finished she doctorate, she went and do postgraduate. Big office. $1,000 to do a root canal. She sees her teeth rattling. She not going back and help the people. So encourage your son. What has been done for him there is great. To be able to have the opportunity to study 5 years in China, he must have a bachelor's degree at least.
Yeah.
In addition to that, he could speak Mandarin very good. And China have a lot of people, and China investment in the Caribbean mean that China is here to stay. When a Chinese come in your country, they have a 1,000-year plan. When a Grenadian goes somewhere, they have a 5 years plan. If a man and a woman meet in Grenada and they get married, they make a 6 months plan. If the man foot break, the woman ready to leave him. If by the time the woman pregnant and she get 3 stretch mark, and she'll start to look, when he pick up, she was like a Coke bottle. Now she looking like a sugar jar. The man looking for next woman. But when Chinese come in your country, they have a 1,000 years plan. And if your grandson study in China, he is very important in the community, he understands the culture. So he could make a significant contribution to the country, whether government employ him or not. So let him enjoy the carnival.
And he don't live far from you?
Well, eventually you're going to know him. Let him enjoy the carnival. And after carnival, let him go and report to the relevant ministry.
Thank you.
And let's thank God for education. Yeah. Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, all of them say education is the answer. It's only our people in Grenada here. Every time you talk about education, they get vexed. The majority of children leaving school, they cannot pass maths, they can't pass English. Every time you tell them that, they tell you the curriculum, or what they call this big word, wrong. Maths and English you're talking about. When your child go to school, you want them to get maths, English, a foreign language, and a science subject. Well, no, computer science, everybody's supposed to do that. Take out scripture. Go and learn that in the church. Take out history. When monkey write his story, monkey always write. And then historian lying too much. And make certain that your child have the basic education. And we must start to speak about, we can't speak with forked tongues. We can be saying one thing over and over for the last 10 years, and you're just reaching government. And I was surprised, well, I'm not surprised, but when I heard the deacon say that conflict of interest in a small country like ours, he said, "I normal. We just have to manage that." And I agree with him. That's important. All of us is cousins. All of us is related. And some of us girlfriend is cousin. So I always encourage them not to look for green blood. You go hot too much at yellow, you know. So you can give us a call. We have an opportunity for maybe one other call. Somebody say Grenada heading to a dangerous spot. I don't agree with that. This country is well poised for takeoff. Our tax threshold in Grenada, that is an important thing, you know. The tax threshold in Grenada is better than a lot of the countries in the OECS. You have to be making $3,000 or more before you pay tax. The Ministry of Finance is very productive, very professional, and very good. So they're going to we expect them to collect more tax to be more effective. So we have to ensure that the government continue on the right trajectory based upon the agreement we have with the international community. So we don't have to change fundamentally the tax threshold. Because the majority of people in the lower income strata, they're not paying tax. Are paying tax, you know. But I don't want them to drop the threshold because more people go come for me assistance. A lot of my relatives don't pay tax. And when they feel pressure, they're going to come more to me. So these things are important. And we have to encourage the National Democratic Congress. Give the benefit of the doubt to the rank and file workers. Stop searching for green blood. Maybe what you need to do is to send the Prince of Hate in hibernation. They have done a good job. But if they continue to propagate this hate, you're going to start to cannibalize. And you have a history of doing that. And do not sell Grenada assets. You criticize that too much. So don't sell marketing board. Fix marketing board. And ask, if you don't know how, ask the guys in finance. Because if the productivity level could increase significantly in the police force and in the Ministry of Finance, then we have something good going there. They could help you increase the productivity in marketing board and in the education system. One day I'm going to say I don't agree with the selection you have for education. The Minister of Education, I don't agree with him. I think you put the wrong person there. He can't help you. You put the wrong person. I would have accepted he has been in the system so long, I don't think it could make a difference, but I'll tell you why in another program. We want to thank you for this program, and we're back with you again next week when we have an opportunity to express ourselves and to punch.